Nat.Geo says Arathusa, and a surprise, it must be Anderson. Well, we're about to find out. There it is. It is a leopard. But now, which leopard is it, Brian? I don't know. I'm confused. All leopards look the same to me. So let's see who can figure out which leopard this is. And she's chewing on the remnants of a kill that was lost to hyenas a short time ago. So she's managed to find a few scraps that the hyenas left behind. But it is a very pleasant surprise, nonetheless. After searching the whole of Djuma for leopard tracks and coming up with naught, quite nice to pop over to Arathusa for a little bit of leopard action. So it is not Salahesh. So still waiting for an answer. Which leopard could this be? So apparently it was an adult impala that was caught. So probably a bit heavy for her to pop it in the tree, and that's why the hyenas managed to steal it. Honey, it is indeed Shadow, Karula's oldest daughter from her first litter. Now, Shadow that's quite a strange leopard, I would say. She exhibits very unusual behavior in the fact that with her last cub and this cub, she's been seen mating even while she's got a cub. The cub was seen alive a few days ago, but it's definitely not here now. So, as I said, very interesting behavior that she's exhibited. Now, as far as we know, the cub is still alive. And she did this with her last cub. She pretty much abandoned it for about a month, at about the same age. Now, I wonder, because it's a female, will it become independent of her younger, which is normal? So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, especially with the pressure she's facing from other leopards at the moment. The last time I saw Salahesh was in this block, probably no more than 100 meters from where we are now. Also, there's all these young females looking for territory because the western sections along the Manyaneti River are quite full up with leopards. So you've got two young females from Nsele. We saw one of them in Cheetah on Djuma. Brian and I actually saw the other female, but we couldn't, unfortunately, get signal where we found her. Oh, there she's moving. And And there's another young female called the Ingrid's Dam female that's come up from the north, from London, from Ottawa. And let's try to think. Oh, so there are quite a few other female leopards around that could be putting pressure on Shadow at the moment. And she seems to have been operating in a very narrow area. This is the furthest west I've seen her in quite some time. Janice is asking, did Shadow have an injury on her elbow? Well, Janice, not that I noticed. It looks like she's just eating a bit of the stomach lining there. She doesn't look like she's enjoying it too much. So the whole stomach is intact there, but because she's lost this kill 2 hyenas, she'll probably try and get as much nutrients as possible. So she's just feeding off the little scraps that the hyena left as it ran off with the rest of the carcass. I mean, it looks like she has eaten, but she's by no means rotund or very full. So she's literally picking between the stomach contents and trying to find any little bit of nutrients possible. So from what I can see there, it looks like lower intestine she's feeding off at the moment. Now, Hurricane, the Dutch angel dragon, would like to know how we can tell the difference between the different leopards, etc. Well, there's a couple of ways we do. Quite often we work on where we see them, so a lot to do with their different territories or home ranges. Secondly, each individual leopard has a unique spot pattern over its whole body, but the main one we use is the spot pattern above the last line of whiskers. I'm not going to show you that just yet. We're going to stick with her while she's feeding, but I will show you how spot pattern works a little bit later. Now, Shamsan is wondering, is Shadow the one who very rarely hoists her kill? Shamsan, you are spot on, and she does seem to lose a lot of her kills to hyenas. We can hear all the African fish eagles in the background making a racket. Sorry guys, it's Peter, I think, from Nkoro. Look at that, she doesn't really look like she's enjoying that much, does she? between the different lineages of leopards you get, to expand on IDs. So if you have a look at Karula and Shadow and Tundi, they're very pale leopards. And if we take Nkanyeni, for example, she's a very dark leopard. So you do have different color variations in their coats, and it seems the different female lineages are either dark or light. And as much as I do love Karula and her family, I'm a massive fan of the darker leopards. And my favorite leopards in the Sabi Sands have always been of the darker lineages, and generally found closer to the Sand River. But also in Kanyen is quite a dark female, and so is Salahesh. This Shadow is a very pale leopard. Hi, Michael. Michael's wondering, what is my all-time favorite Djuma leopard moment? Oh, I think I've got a couple, Michael. And I think 3 of them are all with what was my favorite male leopard, but unfortunately he's departed our traverse area. He's gone down towards the Sand River. But it was with a male leopard called Konyuma. And Brian, I think you were there for most of them. So we had him climb into a dead knobthorn, not knobthorn, a dead leadwood tree, and nearly fall out of it a couple of times. And incredible, we had an incredible sighting of him way up in that tree. And then also with him, we watched him literally for no reason, sneak up to a buffalo who was sleeping in a waterhole and smack it on the bottom, and then climb up a tree and then hiss at the buffalo. So that was pretty special. I'm just going to move quickly. And then, again, when he was feeding off a baboon, I had a fight with a hyena. There we go. She's got a little prize. All the hyenas left for her. And she's on the move now. Let's see where she's off to. Sorry about my hat there. She might go towards that big termite mound. To see where she went. So while we keep up with Shadow through the monkey orange thickets, let's go see how Commander Bond has been doing. And she just keeps, unfortunately, popping her head behind the one stick that's in the way. But it looks like she's eating what little is left at the search for more scraps. Let's go have a look. Are we behind us there, Brian? Should we go back or forward? Yeah, we're just waiting. There's a bit of a traffic jam here at the moment. It is a very thick area. Lots of these little terrible monkey oranges. These little monkey oranges are a product of a very wet 10 years, and hopefully, while it's very dry, the elephants and other creatures will even them out a little bit. Shouts if you get a window through the thicket there, Brian. Oh, looks like she might move again, so we're just going to sit here, see what she does. Hi, Di. As I said earlier, the last time Shadow's cub was seen was about 2 or 3 days ago. But I haven't heard any updates on the cub in the last 24 hours. Yeah, let's move forward a bit there, Brian. We can actually see that injury. I'm quite interested to have a look at it. You see it, Brian? On her back right leg. I'm just going to get a picture so you can have a look. Almost. Oh, of course she moves. Now, it doesn't seem to be affecting her movement in any way. Oh, next little scrap. No, we can't see it now. It looks like the lungs that she's got there now, or at least a piece of the lungs. More on Steenbok and Duiker, but because of the drought, they've been catching a lot of adult impala. Now, of course, a lot of the herbivores are in a weakened state at the moment, so it has made them easier for the smaller leopards to focus on larger prey. But there is a bit of a negative sometimes to catching bigger prey, is that it's too heavy for them to hoist. Dark Tranquility is wondering how long can a leopard leave its cub for. Well, it depends on the age of the cub. The youngest ever recorded cub in this part of the world, being independent from its mother, was a female who was abandoned at 7 months old and managed to survive and live a very long life. But normally, they won't leave the cubs for longer than 2 or 3 days, except if you're Shadow. She seems to do very strange things. So she left her last cub, Sindile, for nearly a month before she returned to him, and she was mating in that month. Now, she was seen mating with Tingana not that long ago. So, very, very interesting to see whether she returns. Now, this cub is still 6 months old, and there is always a possibility if it's abandoned it might survive. But generally, they need to be closer to as close to that year mark as possible to have a very good chance at survival. So what will happen if a cub is abandoned at that age? It's going to take a long time for it to catch bigger prey. So it's going to focus on insects, small birds, francolin, frogs, mice, cane rats, those type of things. Okay, well, just going to wait to see what she does. It's not the most wonderful view, but that's the view we've got at the moment. Even if we moved around to the other side, she'd be completely obscured by the little bush willow. While we sit and play the patience game with Shadow, let's go see what Commander Bond is up to. Definitely making the most out of the remnants of that carcass. So she's sniffing around. You can see the stomach still intact at the back. So she's looking. She might open it up. She might eat the stomach lining. We do see leopards do that from time to time, depending on how hungry they are. My budgie is wondering, do leopards eat the bones of what they kill? They'll be able to eat the smaller bones and definitely the cartilage, but the bigger bones, unfortunately, they don't have powerful enough jaws to crush them. But if there is a small enough bone, they will eat it. So maybe we'll be able to see that injury. It doesn't seem to be affecting it. It almost looks like a rub injury, like she's fallen out of a tree or something. She's searching for any little scrap. I'm going to try to keep with her as she moves. I'm hoping she's going to head to a nice big termite mound, or even maybe down towards Arathusa for a drink of water. There we go. You can see that area she's moving into is full of these little monkey oranges. We do apologize for the noise they make as we drive past, but unfortunately, to stick with her, there's not much we can do. Let's just see where she goes. She might come back. I think where she's sniffing now is where the hyena dragged that carcass off. I think I can just make out a drag mark there. So even though she is carrying that injury on her back right leg, it doesn't seem to be affecting her. It seems to be more of a graze than a deep injury. Let's see where she goes. I'm definitely going to try to stick with her. But she is heading into some thickets now. So while we keep on the tail of Shadow, Let's go see how James is doing. Just doing a bit of preening after feeding. It'll be interesting to see where she moves to from here. I wonder if she's heading back towards the cub. Somehow, with Shadow, I'm not that confident she is, unfortunately. Well, leopards are great self-groomers. And after they've been feeding, they will do quite a lot of grooming on their paws. Now, Suspicious Primate is wondering, where are all the vultures? Are they scared of Shadow? No, well, leopards' kills are generally quite small, and they do keep them quite well hidden. You can just see that injury on her back right leg. It looks like more like a graze than anything else to me, so, I don't know, maybe while hunting. Oh, what she got there? She pick up a piece of hyena, the hyena dropped. Sorry, Suspicious Primate. So, leopards are generally quite good at hiding their kills from vultures. So, you normally only find vultures on big kills. And I don't think the vultures have had time. Sorry, I'm just trying to, I think this is the best spot. No. Try a bit further. I think that's, unfortunately she's chosen the one bush to get behind. There we go. He's just picked up a little scrap that fell off the carcass as the hyena was running away from it. Running away with it. Doesn't look too appetizing. Okay, if she's going to lie down and eat, I'm going to move. Let's get into a good spot. Murphy's Law. Looks like there's another bush this side. How's that, Brian? A bit more? Oh, of course, we've arrived as she swallows the last bit of that morsel. And goomp, down the gullet. Actually, just make out the drag mark in the ground where she's smelling there. See it there, Brian? That line in the sand. There it is. So this is the route the hyena disappeared with her carcass. Ooh, that looks like a tire killer, that one. Let's avoid that. She's fairly zigzagging through these thickets. Now she looks like she's heading back to where she came from. she's giving us a good workout. Up, down, around. Quick scent mark. And she's been spotted by a squirrel. So she's heading back to where we first saw her on the remnants of that impala kill. Maybe she's decided that even though the stomach's not too pleasant, she's hungry enough. Hi, Janet. Janet's wondering at what age did Shadow become independent from Karula? Now, to be honest, I've got a friend. I don't know, Janet. So, if anyone out there does know what age Shadow became independent, I would love to know that information. And you can send that through to me on questions@WildEarth.tv or hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. So she's back sniffing around where she lost the kill. Trying to find any little remnant. Sniff, 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 sniffy. Well, looks like she's found another little bit. I suppose every little bit counts. He keeps looking up and around, and she's hoping there's going to be more of the carcass left. So that's where it was. Just going to stand by here, see if she moves on, or oh, she's found another tiny little bit. Let's try and get another view. How's that, Brian? Yeah, it sounds like there's a bit of bone in there still. Yeah, you can see it's a small enough bone that she's trying to crack it open. You can hear the crunching. Now, Jason's asked a very good question. Why do we use the smallest dots, it seems, on a leopard's body to identify them? Well, Jason, it's the easiest and most unique, and it stands out separate from a lot of the other spot patterns. So it is generally the easiest to actually ID them from. Now she really is making the most of this, and every little bit she is munching away on. She's still alert, trying to make sure no more hyenas rush in and surprise her. Still haven't managed to get the best view of that injury. I don't think it's too serious, though. Wonder how she got it, though. That is always a mystery, unless we're actually right there when something like that happens. Squirrel's still quite displeased with her presence in the area. So Eileen says she became independent in 2008. So if we go backwards from there, thanks very much for that, Eileen in Texas, 2008. And she is 11 now. Tiny scrap. Tiny scraps. Shame. Poor Shadow. So if she's 11, I mean, she became completely independent at about 3, which is very old for a female leopard. Well, Afira from Israel says Karula's mother Safari had new cubs when Karula was a year old. Now that is unusual, but not completely out of the books. Most female, oh, there we go. Oh, she's not going to enjoy this, but she's hungry enough. And we could see some funny faces shortly. Brian's giving Shadow a look of disgust at the moment. How could you be doing this? It really doesn't look like she's enjoying that. Guys, why are you filming me at my worst? There we go, you can see. Oh, yeah, I mean, I'm going to try to get a photograph, a close-up of that injury she's carrying when I get the opportunity. Can you see through her Achilles tendon there?
A little bit, I think.
She doesn't seem to be hampered by movement, but maybe that injury is a bit more serious than we thought. Now, as I said, she is under pressure from quite a lot of other females. So it could have been from a fight with one of them. Maybe that's why she's looking around so much. Not only for hyenas, but in case Salahesh or one of the other young females makes an appearance. Thanks, Raisa. So it shadows 10. So, I mean, Independence at 2, which is still reasonably late for a female leopard. But apparently Kruder was very young, only 2 years and 4 months when she had Shadow and Tundi. That is very young for a female leopard to start breeding. They're normally only after 3. Very, very conscious. She's always looking up and around. I'm hoping she's going to give us a view of that injury again. I'd like to have a closer look. Oh, there we go. I can smell that stomach entrails now. You can just make it out through there. So, as I said, it looks more like a sort of almost a burn injury, like a rubbing injury. So maybe she was chased out of a tree, fell out of a tree. I'm just going to move back a little bit, see if we can see that injury a bit better. There we go. Let's have a look. You got it there, Brian? So I'm going to just zoom in quickly with the camera. It could be a... It does look... but it looks like it's not that fresh. It looks like it's healing quite well. I'm just going to go a bit further back to see, because that injury extends higher as well. Tail gets some. Wait, let me just. Okay. I've got enough to show you guys a bit more closely on the camera. There. Oh my God, have I rolled too far? Just too far. Well, maybe it is from a fight, that injury. Okay, so if we have a look back of the camera. I'm going to try to use my head for shade. Can you still see it, Brian? Maybe I can put my hat somewhere. There? Are you using... There? Okay. So it's quite a clean cut. It looks like it's not fresh. It's quite old. And it's already started to heal. Could be from a claw or from a tooth. But I think maybe not from falling out of a tree, but possibly from fighting with another leopard. So we're going to stick here, see what happens with Shadow as she feeds on the scraps. While we do that, let's go see how James is doing. So we're still sitting with Shadow while she preens herself. She's moved a little bit from where she was trying to eke out any form of sustenance from her impala kill that was stolen by spotted hyenas. So she's just cleaning herself, and she was eating quite a bit, or inadvertently eating quite a bit of impala stomach contents. She's still very, very conscious, which makes me think that that wound is possibly from another leopard, not from a fall on a tree or anything like that. Susan says, could that injury be from a warthog? It's possible, but unlikely, just because of where it is. Generally, when leopards get wounded by warthogs, those wounds will be around the front part. I mean, it's possible that a warthog hooked her as she was trying to get away from it. Very possible, in fact. I don't know, just the placement of it seems like she might have been caught unawares by another leopard. But as I said, it looks like she's walking fine as she walks again. Now she is heading north at the moment. I'll try to stick with her for as long as possible. So June says, how long do we do this? I'm at the office and this has become my daily routine. We do it for 6 hours a day, Jude, from 6 a.m. Central African time, attack of the rogue branch, to 9 a.m. Central African time, and then again from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Central African time. But we're about to close down. I'm just going to try and get us one last lovely view of Shadow. I think she's going to give us a behind view. So from the Killer Bees, it's been splendid having you and lovely to catch up with Shadow. I haven't seen her in quite some time. So we will see you again shortly for the Sunset Safari. So toodles for now.